Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining us once again. It was an absolute pleasure to have you join us every Thursday evening as we bring you our live stream here on Africa Sports Consultancy. And for some of you, if it is your first time, thank you for tuning in. We are really glad to have you. And if you are wondering what we are about, we are Africa Sports Consultancy. What we do here is our mission is to empower athletes in Africa to make better informed decisions for their present and also their future. And in doing that, we look to push athletes to become the best versions of themselves. This weekly live broadcast that we have is so that you can be in a place where we bring you the best of the best. We bring you athletes, past, present, and future athletes to come. And this evening is no different. We have with us a former Zimbabwean cricketer. He bowled lots of overs for Zimbabwe, and he will be joining us here tonight. You know, Richard has made a massive effort to be with us, and he's literally just come off his coaching stint. So we're just going to give him a couple of minutes to get ready and join us. But as you can imagine, for some of you who know who Richard is and know about his career, we have so many questions lined up for him, and we really can't wait to get cracking and to be asking him all these questions. And, you know, Richard has just joined us and he will be here. Richard, good evening. How are you doing? I think you might be on mute.
Oh, there we go. Oh, can you hear me now?
Fantastic. Yes, I could hear you now. How are you doing?
Great. Good, thanks. How's it going, mate?
No, I'm great. Thank you so much for doing this. Yeah, I know this is like lastminute.com that I had to push you to rush.
No worries, bro.
And how's your day gone? It seems like it was quite a busy day for you.
Yeah, it was a hectic day. I'm only getting in from work now, so you can only imagine. I finished at 7, so I really had to get here pretty quick.
Well, it's nothing like bowling in front of a packed stadium, so I'm sure you'll be fine.
Yeah, most certainly not.
Now, look, I want to dive straight into it. You know, it's obviously been a period whereby you've played lots of cricket. You've played lots and lots of cricket, but it's always good to sort of start somewhere near the beginning. Okay. And on your side, you know, how did you end up playing cricket?
For me, I think it depends on how back you want to push it, from whether it was primary school or high school. It was mostly in stages, really. Starting off from playing cricket because of my friends, and then playing later on in high school because I liked the sport, and then at some point in my life playing because I was actually good at it. So it's in stages, because when I actually started off, I wasn't as good, and I didn't think that I would make it that far. But you know, I'm grateful that the work through the years got me to be able to make it at that stage.
Brilliant. And like you said, we can go far back, but tonight's going to be a bit of a rush because we want to touch on your young stages. We also want to touch on after your international career. So we've got a lot to get through. Half an hour is nowhere near enough. I can promise you that.
So should I make myself comfortable? Because I need to move chairs.
Okay, no, that's fine. That's fine.
Great.
And you know, as Richard is just moving over, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who don't know who Richard is, he's a former international Zimbabwe cricketer. And you know, he's been there, he's done that, he's played at a very high level. And while he just settles down again here, what I'm very keen to know is how he obviously started out in the game and who really inspired him as a young cricketer. So Richard, as you were growing up, who inspired you? It can be a coach, it can be a player, or it can be a long list of people.
I think the people that inspired me the most were my friends, to be honest. The people that I played around, I think back to when I was in primary school. I think I was privileged enough to have friends that stayed close to me and that I learned with, that were actually good in the sport, that were making provincial sides, that were making national sides at under 13 level, under 11s, and so forth. So the fact that they were making it really encouraged me from that level or from that age.
Oh, that's brilliant. And growing up, were you also in these junior national sides that you speak of?
Not at all. I think the only time I really broke through to provincial sides was, well, I think when I was in Form 3. I don't know how, that's like 15 years old. When I was 15, that's when I made province. And I think in terms of national, I made, I think under 19s, final 24s, I was in Form 4, I think that's 16. I think that's when I started really to believe in myself and really think that I can actually go further with the sport, because at 16 playing with the older guys, I think we had the likes of Jarvis, who were seniors at the time. I think Solomon Mira as well was part of that side. So yeah, when I moved from there to when I got to the under 19, so basically when I really made it through to Zim was when I was under 19. That was the first time I made it into the national sides. So at under 19, 18 years, yeah.
And you know, it goes back to say a lot about how everyone thinks that all these people going to play international sports start at a very young age, but like you said, your breakthrough was at under 19 only. And you know, clearly that's when cricket actually became a realistic career for you. And in saying that, you were based at Midwest Rhinos, and I think during that time when you rose to your prominence, that would be around about the time when Jason Gillespie was around, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes. Yeah, Jason Gillespie was my coach, I think just after the under 19s. I took a break after the under 19s, a year break. I think I had to go back and finish my studies. I think the biggest thing was I had an injury. I had a back injury straight after that. So I think it took me about a year to heal. So yeah, and then after that, that's when I met Dizzy. We'll call him Dizzy. That's his name that he goes by. Yeah, and he really inspired me. He really showed me a different side of cricket that I wasn't really exposed to. So I'm really thankful for that part. And the fact that we had an opportunity to play some really good players, the likes of Gary Balance was in my team. Ricky Vessels was one of the people that were really feeding a lot of knowledge in terms of what I need to do and a lot. So I really had a good support structure around me in terms of the players and the coaching that I had at the time, which really had a big impact on my cricket. And I think how many months out of injury? I think 6 months out of injury, which I really didn't take care of properly, or which wasn't taken care of properly. I was able to break through and to be part of the first class side and be a regular. And 6 months down the line, I was being looked up to play in the national side. So yeah, the structure really worked, and he really put a lot of work, not only into me, but a lot of the players that came after.
And you say that, there's so much I could ask you, but I'm just going to pick off the last bit that you mentioned. Now, you spoke about a national call-up. That's a big deal to anyone. Do you remember how you got your first national call-up?
Wow. I do remember. I think when I got the call-up, it was just after the end of the season. It was the 2011, 2012 season? Yeah. Just after the season, I was invited to come into the camp to train with the guys. And yeah, it was a big deal for me. And when I got the opportunity, I had the privilege to start with Lorraine and really work on my game. So it was amazing. By the time I went in earlier than the rest of the squad. I think it was two or 3 weeks earlier, and it was more for conditioning with the trainer. So when everyone else came in, it was okay. It was nice. It was a very nice feeling. You can't really explain it, to be honest. You can't.
Now the call-ups come, and you've had so much injury, you've had so many setbacks.
Yes.
How did your first game go?
My first game was a bit nervy. I think it was a warm-up game. It was at Country Club. I was bowling to Tamim. It was a small ground as well, and I think before him, the good thing was the structure at that time in Zim was very good. We had just come out of bowling to guys like Chris Gale and all those guys. So in terms of nerves and preparedness, I think I was prepared to play at that level. So the nerves weren't really there. I think I was a young man at a point where I just thought I could conquer the world, really, and I was just chasing after what I really wanted. So yeah, it was an experience. I enjoyed it. Not too much nerve, but it was a good game. And then eventually from there, that's when I had my first series with South Africa and Bangladesh.
Now, again, we're going to skip through quite quickly. You are the renowned death bowler for Zimbabwe Cricket for a while. And, you are that guy who you could almost bet your last dollar that you're going to land that Yorker, be it a wide Yorker, full Yorker. And how does it feel for you now? Obviously, watching the most recent series where death bowling seemed to be a bit of an issue for Zimbabwe Cricket. And I'll build on to that. And lots of people have been asking, where's Richard?
Okay. I think for me, it's a combination of a number of things. At the moment, if you look at our bowling attack, it's quite a young attack. So there isn't that composure. You really need a lot of composure at the death. So yeah, I think that's a factor. I don't know in terms of practice regime, but for me, what really worked was our practice regime with our coach Dizzy at the time. Like I said, it was really strict, and yeah, you really had to work on that dead bowling because he saw it as a very important part of a bowler's career. It was a very good ball to have in your arsenal. So yeah, we put in a lot of work into it. Despite that, there were senior players around that could assist and so forth. It was a lot of work behind it.
Yeah, and you say that. You were doing such a great job at the time. And again, with some of these things, until we talk to guys like yourself, we never know. But word on the street has it that you got to a point where you couldn't even land the ball on the pitch. How true is that?
Yeah, that's very true. That's very true. I think for me, as a bowler, especially, I think for me, I'll then quantify it as an African sportsman. I've had the fair share of injuries, and it's very unfortunate that we do not have the facility as we see it to take care of our players. But yeah, there was a time when injury was quite heavy on me. But as a young man who's just made a breakthrough, and with other prominent or other prospects inside, I just couldn't see myself bowing down or going down again for another injury. Like I said, this was the second one of the same nature, which I knew this time would keep me out for at least another 2 years. So I had to choose. So and unfortunately at the time I chose the wrong thing. But yeah, I did worked away around it, and then I gave myself time to recover. And yeah, before I actually stopped playing professionally, and I think I was playing decent cricket.
Well, more than decent cricket. Everyone in a Zimbabwean shirt was watching you and cheering you on. So well done to you. And it brings me to a point that one of our viewers brought up earlier, because I referred to you as an ex-Zimbabwean cricketer. So can you clear the air there? Did you retire?
Yes.
Did you not retire?
To be honest, I don't know. The thing is, as an individual, as a person, I've had some amazing experiences with cricket, and I've also had some very nasty ones. So for me, I just took a step back, to be honest. I'm not really keen on playing professionally, but when it comes to how I play and my physique and everything, I do try to take care of myself. I do try to stay as a sportsman. At the end of the day, I'm a sportsman and an athlete, and that's what I do. So yeah, in terms of playing professionally, no, I don't think so. At the moment, I've taken a step back. I'm more into passing on the little knowledge that I acquired.
Oh dear, there it goes. Everyone watching at home, if any of you had prospects of watching Richard again on TV, he's unofficially said that he is retired, but I'm hoping maybe a call or two from the powers that be. Yeah, I'm hoping that a call from the powers that be could maybe lure you back, and I'm sure you'd be welcomed back with open arms. And
yeah, definitely, without a doubt.
It is sad, and look, there's so much comments flooding in already, so much questions that people have that I'm going to get to. But again, you've left Zimbabwe cricket. You've gone on to the next phase of your life. You know, what have you left Zimbabwe cricket to? So where are you now?
At the moment, I am in South Africa. I'm based in South Africa. I am into sports development, mainly. At the moment, the main line, of course, is what I know best, which is coaching cricket, or playing cricket rather. So yeah, it's where I am at the moment, and moving on to seeing what we can do with the athletes in general, and the African athlete, because aside from cricket, I played Zimbabwe under 20 basketball. I played Zim athletics. So in terms of the people that can play the sport, we know that it's just a matter of being able to work on the transition from a junior athlete who's in Craven Week playing rugby and to someone who's going to be competing with the Springboks.
And I love how you've said that. And look at you, Zimbabwe cricketer, Zimbabwe junior basketball player. And there was a comment that came up just now. I didn't read quite closely at it, but there was a statement in there that says how the system seems to fail athletes in Zimbabwe. And when you look back at your career, Richard, what could have been put in place, or what do you think could have been done differently and would have seen a different outcome for your career?
To be honest, I've thought about that quite a lot, and I've tried to think what exactly, but I think for me, it all boiled down to support. I think the board, or the system rather, I don't know how you can call it, they could be a bit more supportive to the player and not to the system. Yeah, so as players, they could do better. Not saying that, we need everything on a silver platter, but in terms of guidance and all that, it's also needed. For me, I was a very young guy who made it through at a very young age. So you also need that career guidance. Okay, how do I work myself around Zim cricket? What exactly is required of me? All those things. There's so many things that weren't communicated to me as a young player who gets into the team. There's certain requirements, because this is not high school cricket. This is international. You're coming from high school, then into first class cricket, and then. So for me, I felt like I was fresh out of high school into international cricket, although I had played and but you really needed that extra support to get you to get into that mind frame to understand the kind of level that you're now playing. I mean, international cricket, it doesn't get any better than that.
100%. And it's actually pushed me offline here a bit, because while I was listening to you speak, I was thinking of young Wesley Matevere, who literally came out of high school, played a little bit of cricket, and straight into the international fray. And he's gone now, and he had a dream start to his career, but he's gone now through a little bit of a rough patch, and everyone is bashing him as if he should be carrying the whole national team.
I think that's being unjust, really, because for a young player, he's already put Zimbabwe in a lot of winning positions, if not won games already at his age. So, you know, he also needs some time. It's a learning curve. You know, if you look at guys who play cricket at the highest level, Steve Smith, Virat Kohli, they all have bad patches, but what makes them different from the rest of the people is that their bad patches are shorter than others. So he's still a young guy. It's only one bad patch. Yeah, he needs a chance. Definitely, he's definitely one for the future, without a doubt.
And 100%. And listening from what you were saying, if these structures and systems that you have spoken about, if those are put in place for younger players like that, then I'm sure it is a recipe for success.
Yes, yes, definitely. I think with the right guidance and all that, I think he will definitely be in the right path. And I can see with the players around him right now, and with the structures that's around at the moment, I'm sure that he will definitely be the player that everyone is expecting him to be, because everyone is really excited about him and people want to see him do well. So we're excited to see what goes on after.
Yeah, look, Richard, I'm going to have to dive into the questions here. Otherwise, I'm not even sure I'm going to get through all of them, but there's quite a bit going on in here. There is a question. There is a question. I'll look to this side because I'm looking at my questions there. There's a question from Brian Tekwende. And he says, why is it that Zimbabwe cricket players retire 5 to 8 years earlier than other players from other countries? You could be playing for Zim still. He gives examples of Friday Castani, yourself, Charles Coventry, and I see here someone else spoke about Panyangara and Alton Chugumbura too. So you could answer that for us, please.
Wow. I think for this one, I could only answer on a personal note. I've spoken to other guys that have retired for certain reasons, but I think it will be, for me, it was more of a decision where I have set goals for myself as an individual, where I want to be somewhere at a certain place. And for my retirement mainly was, for me to perform at the highest level, I wasn't able to translate that work, or rather the support, like I said, I didn't think it was enough for me to propel myself to the next level. So in terms of personal goals, in terms of what I want to do with myself, I got to a place where I drew the line and I was like, okay, as much as I feel or believe that I'm good at it, there's time to cool it off and then move on to the next part of your life. And for a sportsman, in terms of setting a foundation to move on to it takes a while. It takes a lot of years to just put things together, and then you can move on to the next facet of your career. So for me, I thought it was time to start moving on to the next part of my life.
It's difficult to hear you say these things. It really is difficult, you know, as a young man with his life laid ahead of him. You've just you've almost just started your international career. And I was saying this earlier before you jumped on, and I was saying, as Africa Sports Consultancy, these are some of the societal issues that we want to look at, to say, young African athletes, are they getting the support that they need to be getting? And beyond just that support that they need to be getting, are they also preparing for life after their sport? You know, and
life after.
You say do you feel you were in a strong enough position to walk away from Zimbabwe cricket and feel that you were okay at that point that you walked away?
No, not at all. I think for me, it had to be a bold decision, because like I say, I think after high school, the only thing that I really knew was cricket. I started a couple of businesses at the time that I was playing, because my dad he's a business guy, so I've always gotten a lot of inspiration from him in terms of how to do business, or rather the enjoyment of doing business. So yeah, it was something that I've always wanted to pursue, but yeah, it's just how it is.
You've answered that pretty well. You've answered that pretty well, and I can hear just in your tone of voice you were saying a lot more than you were saying. And I almost feel some sort of pain and, I don't know if I'm getting the right sense. Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. There's quite a lot of pain in that road, man. It's a nice road when you close to the end of the tunnel, but trust me, the tunnel can get pretty rough.
100%. And it doesn't have to be that way. And, you know, last week, I'll tell you about last week. Last week, we had a youngster on the show who is 13 years old. He has scored 1,300 and he's 13. He's a young Zimbabwean batsman. And he's just scored 2 of these for St. Stithians recently. And when I asked him, what country do you want to play for? He said he wants to play for South Africa. And I asked him why. And shame, he's 13 years old. And if that's what you're hearing already, it shows that there is something missing within the setup currently. And I know there's people working hard to fix it.
Yeah, true. Yeah, it's a bit sad to hear, but you know how it is. South Africa it's a bigger stage rather to play it. So I'm sure you'll be just choosing the stage, nothing to do with nationality. I'm sure.
Yeah, we hope so. And look, we and everyone who's watched the videos has rallied around him, and everyone's excited to see how far he goes. You know, he's scored more hundreds than a lot of people I know in their whole life, but he's only 13. And you know what? I'm gonna pop off. There's another question here from Tafadzwa Chota, and he's asked, "What advice would you give the current crop of bowlers, especially around T20 and death bowling?"
I think it's in terms of gameplay, I think I would say it's the amount of work that you put in. It's a lot of work. It takes a lot of structure. So as an individual, if you want to be good at something, you need to put a lot of work into it. I think there's more that can be done for the young guys, or on a personal level, in terms of how they can approach the training. In terms of game situation, I would say composure. You know, at times when the batsman is coming at you, you rush yourself a bit much. So it's either whether you're going to tie your lace or you're going to call the physio, it depends. Whatever you're going to do to compose yourself, if you're going to walk slower back to the run-up, but you really need to have a clear mind of what ball you're going to bowl, and try to bowl not too many balls in an over. I'd say have a ball that you're going to bowl 60% of the time. So maybe that will say 4 balls. You know that I'm going to bowl one kind of ball, then 2 variations in an over. If you tend to bowl too many balls in the over, you lose yourself a little bit. So the focus in the death overs is very important. It's a different game because you're tired. You really need to take some extra time to focus and think about what you want to do.
Well, you heard it here first. Richard Muzhange, one of the best death bowlers to come out of Zimbabwe cricket, and he's come up with some golden advice. Richard, I'm looking in the comments again, and there's another comment that's just come up. Okay. But I'm just going to sum it up. It's quite a long write-up. So if I am to ask you now, do you feel that if you were in a different setup or in a different country, do you think that you'd still be playing today?
I believe so, yes, without a doubt. I love the sport. I think the unfortunate part was that in terms of being able to continue, it wasn't feasible at the moment. But otherwise, in terms of playing, I would most probably be playing in another setup.
Wow, it is sad to hear that a system in one place, you know, is breaking down dreams. Because from what I'm hearing from you is you'd have loved to still be charging in, bowling those Yorkers of yours and winning games for your country, but the situation doesn't allow.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, sometimes it's survival of the fittest. You know, the spots are there. If you want to play, you just have to jump in. But yeah, the cake is not big enough for everybody.
Yeah. Okay. So I can take one more question The one question I will take here is, who was your toughest batsman that you bowled to? That's from Richard Finland.
Ooh, the toughest batsman that I bowled to. I think, to be honest, it had to be Chris Gayle, without a doubt, in my mind. Yeah, he's the presence at the crease and the way everything, it's the reach as well. You know, when you want to go wide, his hands can go there. If you're a bit short, he's got the power, he can jab you. So I remember I think the second ball that I bowled to him at the T20, he was halfway down the pitch. And by the time I tried, he hit it straight back at me. By the time I tried to put my boot down to stop it, it was hitting the boundary fence. So yeah, he's definitely Chris Gayle, without a doubt.
Yeah, look, I'm sure you're one of a lot of bowlers who feel exactly that way about bowling to Chris Gayle. And fantastic. And look, there's a few more questions coming in, and one of them, I do not even want to go there. Actually, let me go there. Let me go there. One word answer. One word answer, please. Quinton de Kock, the run out, Fakhar Zaman, out or not out?
Out.
Out, thank you. It is a long debate. I do not want to get into it because
okay, so
I know
to be honest, I missed the game. I only watched a small part. What was the debate? Why is he not out?
I'm gonna be like you. I'm gonna be politically correct in this one and say I also missed the game. So once I've watched the replays, I will get back to you.
Okay, no, that's
fantastic, Richard. You're absolutely brilliant. And thank you so much for chatting to us. You know, it's really good. It's really good to hear from you. While it's great to hear from you, it is, for me, it's heartbreaking to hear your story and to hear how it went. And for me, the toughest thing to hear is how you obviously still had that ambition and that drive, but due to a lack of medical care and other systems put in place for you, your career didn't go as far as it went. But definitely wish you the best. And if there's anyone watching out there and wants to reach out to you, how can they get in touch with you?
Yeah, you can get in touch with me through Facebook. It's Richard Muzhange, straight up, or Instagram. It's Chad Muzi. You can find me there as well. So it's pretty easy.
Fantastic. And just so you know, some of your teammates were watching. Neville Madziwa was watching, one of Zimbabwe's heroes, was watching, and I think a few others there.
He's catching some balls. Neville, he's not watching.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, and hopefully we'll catch up again.
Thank you so much for having me. Yeah, it was such a great opportunity to talk. Yeah, and having me here, it was great. And I wish you all the best as well. This is a great initiative, and I'm behind 100%.
Thanks, Richard. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. We had Richard Muzhange here with us, and you heard the story. You heard how he's gone about things, and he's based in South Africa now. And sad, what a big loss for Zimbabwe Cricket. Such a young prospect with so much ahead of him. And that's why we are here. We are here to try and ensure that the younger generation is not faced with some of these issues. But again, it's sad that we have to go. Time is up. But again, we'll catch you here, same time, same place next week. Let's remember, COVID is still a reality. Keep your masks on, keep sanitizing your hands, and keep looking after your loved ones. From my side, it's good night and goodbye.